You're listening to the Superman Super Show, episode 25, Superman's Super Campaign. Howdy, folks. Welcome to an all-new episode of the Superman Super Show. I'm a host. My name is Ed, and 1,000 miles over there to my left is another host, Mr. Steeven Orr.
Hello.
So, cold pizza and Code Red got me through college.
Really? Never been a Code Red guy. Love cold pizza though.
Oh man, I was interesting to me. Interesting story about Code Red. Back in the day, had been hearing that it was coming out. I went to a college/university here in southern West Virginia, near where I'm living now. Didn't see hide nor hair of Code Red anywhere. No store, no restaurant had it. Nothing. But it kept hitting the advertising airwaves, magazines, TV. I was working on my bachelor's in geology, and one summer we had a summer field thingy for 6 weeks and went to Colorado and Utah. And while we were in Colorado, finally hit a Taco Bell that had Code Red. So after months and months of wanting a Code Red, jonesing as it were, had to go all the way out to Colorado. What is that? That's crazy. 16 to 20 hours driving one way to finally find it. And I was able to enjoy my first Code Red.
That's crazy.
So there we go. There's nice. My Code Red story.
Nice. My son really likes the Baja Blast.
Okay.
And for a long time you couldn't get it around here either, but you could get it at the Taco Bell. So if we were going to Taco Bell, he'd be like, "Give me a Baja Blast."
But yeah, that's what he wanted. Yep, I got you. That's the most recent example of that. Most recent example of that is Cheerwine. For a long time there was it's a cherry flavored. It's not quite cola, but it's kind of a cherry cola. And for the longest time, it was a very southern thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we got a Bojangles up here, we started being able to get it up here. And then about a year after Bojangles came in, Cheerwine made it into the stores up here finally and was available.
Never heard of it.
So Doug is a Baja Blast person himself.
Yeah. Once I switched to diet, I can't drink non-diet stuff anymore. It's just too sweet.
I understand your words, but
I know that very foreign concept.
The meaning of that particular order of words, I don't understand that.
That's okay. That's all right.
My wife is the same way. She's consumed diet for so long, and I'm like, too sweet. What do you mean? Your diet is like, So I try not to have those conversations because I'm going to lose. So I just.
It's one of those things because my doctor who does all my weight loss stuff, who has been just trying to get me off of any kind of sweetened anything that's not fruit, basically.
Yeah.
Tells me all the time, it's eventually if you're not drinking even the diet soda, and the only sweet tasting stuff you're getting is fruit, then that's all you're going to crave. Your body's going to stop missing it after a while. But
right.
I haven't gotten to that.
Perhaps.
And I don't know that I ever will.
Like it.
But, yeah. Cause she tried to get me on like the bubbly, the flavored carbonated water, and that stuff tastes like death.
Okay. Okay. Well, there we go.
It's not good. But she says, once your body, once you have stopped with all the sweets, then that will taste sweet to you. And it's like, it's going to take me. Yeah.
It's a matter of like, I don't want to take that chance. So
right.
I'm going to keep going with what I'm doing.
It's like I used to tell everybody because I have never been a big drinker and I've never liked beer.
Nope.
And as a teenager, when all my friends were drinking beer and they'd say, well, you get used to it. And I don't want to have to get used to it. Right. I'm not interested. I'm not that interested in getting drunk that I have to get used to a taste to get to that.
I've been around long enough and I've tried multiple times and I can honestly say, nope, never acquired the taste for beer. Never have.
And I know people, both of my brothers, my older brother is very, it's like, they just love beer. It's like, I don't get it. Alcohol just itself was just never.
And that's not a bad thing.
No,
So,
not at all. Not at all. Hey, before we get into before you get into the actual episode, I just want to remind everybody real quick. This is the week that, or at least the week that this episode comes out, is the same week that episode 0 of Manu Show, Just Another Fanboy Presents The Death of Superman, has launched. You can find that at presents.justanotherfanboy.com. And I'm reading through the Death of Superman big Superman event that went through all 4 Superman titles from 92 into 93. So if you want to go check that out, it's out there.
and for our quick thoughts, just refer back to episode 24 of this show, where we gave a rather quick thoughts on Death of Superman.
Yeah, we had a lot of banter in that episode.
Yes, indeed. About that very thing.
Yep.
Alrighty, today we're looking at Superman's Super Campaign, which appeared in Action Comics number 18. This was written for us by Jerry Siegel, penciled and inked by Paul Cassidy, who was a ghosty kind of person for our much esteemed Mr. Schuster at this point.
Yep.
Now, Action Comics 18 was published by DC Comics and has a cover date of November 1939 with, according to Mike's Amazing World of Comics, an approximate on-sale date of September 28th, 1939. So just roughly a month before. And it's those on-sale and cover dates are kind of hanging with right about a month in between right now.
Yep.
But here is what happened in this issue. Senator Hastings has just finished giving his final speech for re-election. After many congratulations, Senator Hastings is driving home when he comes across a stranded woman in the middle of the road. Saying that she survived a car crash and is lucky to be alive, the senator gives her a lift into town. While Senator Hastings is driving, the woman grabs a vial of sleeping gas and crushes it. With the senator knocked out, the woman, named Trixie, drives the car to Wayside Inn, a notorious roadhouse, where she meets with a couple of men to drag the senator into the inn. I wonder if Dalton is at this particular roadhouse.
The name is Dalton.
The next day, Clark and Lois go to cover a woman's suicide attempt. Excuse me, let me try to suicide. I don't know what that is. Okay.
Death by sewer.
The next day, Clark and Lois go to cover a woman's suicide attempt. While the woman is in question... Wow.
You've psyched yourself out.
While the woman in question does not want any of this news to appear in the papers, rival journalist Gene Powers from the Morning Herald decides to write and publish the news the next morning. Furious by the lack of journalistic integrity from Gene, Clark and Lois confront him. As Gene throws a punch at Clark, Clark ducks and pretends to be clumsy by accidentally ramming his elbow into Gene's face, knocking him out. Later in the day, Clark is sent on assignment to interview Senator Hastings. As Clark begins to introduce himself, Hastings begins to plead for more time to collect the $10,000 for him. Confused, Clark tells Hastings that he's from the Daily Star and is soon sent on his way. As Clark leaves and ponders what that was all about, Clark notices that Gene Powers is now meeting with Hastings. Using his X-ray vision and super hearing, Clark is able to see and listen into the conversation between Gene and Hastings. Gene shows Hastings photographs of Hastings drugged, drinking, and smoking with Trixie, and is blackmailing him by printing these photos if he doesn't pay the $10,000 soon. Clark changes into Superman that evening and goes to Gene Powers' home and finds the blackmailed photos along with a list of all his blackmail victims. Gene wakes up and threatens Superman with a bow and arrow. I think maybe that's the first time, other than in Green Arrow, I have ever seen anybody threatened with a bow and arrow.
Right.
Unsuccessfully shooting Superman with an arrow, Superman takes the bow and shoots an electric billboard outside with great accuracy to prove his prowess. As Superman leaves and threatens Gene to leave, Gene phones Hamilton, the publisher of the Morning Herald, to warn him of Superman. Hamilton demands Gene to come to the office at once. That quite didn't make sense.
No.
Superman threatened Gene that if he did not leave town, Superman would be back, is somehow how that should have read. Superman follows Gene to the Morning Herald and overhears the conversation between Gene and Hamilton, confirming that Hamilton is behind the blackmailing and that Trixie and the photographer of the blackmailed photos are wanting more money or they'll squeal. Superman then follows Jean to the Wayside Inn, while Hamilton decides to publish the photos on the front page immediately after Senator Hastings refuses to give him the money. In the Wayside Inn, Jean shoots the photographer and is about to shoot Trixie when Superman busts through the window and throws Jean against the wall. Superman then heads to the Morning Herald, and after finding out that Hamilton has published the papers to go out, Superman destroys the printing presses along with the cars shipping the newspapers. After the wreckage, Superman forces Hamilton to give him the photographic plates of the senator, destroying them, and threatens Hamilton into leaving town at once. A week later, Senator Hastings is reelected. So, Steven, even though I did a really poor job of reading that, and it was rather confusing in its written reading, what did you think of the story?
This one was all right. A couple of quick notes I had was, first of all, I think this is one of the first times I've read a comic where a superhero really kind of got involved in a politician's political career. I mean, granted, the bad guy was blackmailing the politician, but
so what happens all the time?
Yeah, Superman really kind of got in the middle of that. Trixie looks like Lois Lane, plain and simple. I mean, if you, especially the fact that Lois is in the issue, you know, is part of the story. You look at Lois panels and Trixie panels, and it's the same person. And I feel like this is not the first time we've seen this from Schuster. We know he can draw women that don't look like Lois Lane, but I find it odd when he does draw women that look just like Lois Lane. I find that very odd. We also get a lot of Superman's if he's not threatening somebody's life, he's basically making them leave town. And I have to wonder where they end up setting shop after they leave Metropolis, because that's all, you know, it's either do this, confess to your crime, or I will kill you, or leave town, or I will kill you. It's one or the other. And this one was two folks, two different bad guys he made leave town. And are they going to Gotham? Is that why Gotham is such a crime-ridden city? Is because they're all Superman's making them leave Metropolis? They're just going to Gotham and setting up shop. He
doesn't follow them out that far, just out to the city limits. And if they're past it, he's like, okay.
It's like, all right, my job is done. They're no longer in my city. There's somebody else's problem. That's.
This also has a cover. Yes, they did. Matt credit Paul Cassidy. Both on the. Where did you pull this from, Steven?
DCFandom.com is where I get the credits.
And the Grand Comic Book Database also credits him, I believe. Yes, it's signed as Joe Shuster, but Cassidy, somewhere along the way, has been determined to have been the penciler and inker, apparently. We'll wait for Matt to respond if he does. This cover doesn't have anything to do with the story. And the splash panel in the upper right-hand corner, what's going on with the aircraft there that are being shot down by invisible Ak-Ak? Or what? I mean,
I don't know. The opening panel in most of these issues of Action Comics have nothing to do with the splash panel, where they give what's ultimately the faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive thing about Superman, which they haven't quite gotten there yet. I think that comes from the TV show. It may be from the radio show first, but
being just a panel is okay. Yeah. I mean, that's okay. But this one, something is happening.
Something's shooting out those planes out of the sky, and we don't know why. And Superman just seems to be leaping by and ignoring them completely.
Fred Gardner is the cover artist. Yeah, okay. I see that here on the...
Yeah, Gardner, yeah. I can see that in the corner.
Grand Comics listing. But yeah, those are... So right off the bat, not that, bringing up the cover artist, not that art is bad at all. I actually would quite enjoy this art in a war comic. It would suit very well. But again, this looks like a scene from World War I, which we're in between, of course. But I guess given the current climate of things, maybe, or to try to make it more actiony to grab people, they're conflating the Superman with potentially real world events to juice up interest in the book, I guess. I don't know. It just, nowadays, yeah, like you said, it's common that you're lucky if the character that's in the book is even on the cover, much less the cover having anything to do with it.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that that cover has something to do with one of the other stories in this issue, and based on the titles, I'm looking at DC Fandom, and based on the titles, I can't see which story that might be a part of.
Pep Morgan, no, that's a Western. Chuck Dawson, that's a Western.
Yeah, that looks like a Western.
Cult of the Tiger is an adventure. Flying Fool, it's aviation.
Yeah, must be that one.
Although that's a text story of 1.5 pages. So that's Tex Thompson. I don't think he was a detective, right? I don't think he would have. Three Aces, adventure aviation, 1937 war in Spain. That could be what it's referring to.
Yeah, Three Aces, the captured plane. Captured planes.
Zatara is the other big story. So yeah. I wasn't even thinking about the fact I was thinking about the Superman book itself, which of course is all Superman, but yeah, the action issues are not. So that was goofy of me to even think that it should have been a Superman cover. There's no, there's 5 or 6 features in each issue. It could be any of them. So I apologize, Action Comics, for saying that. That was just goofy.
This scene here in the story at the restaurant where Lois and Clark, and it's mostly Clark, confronts the other reporter.
Mm-hmm. Powers.
And it's so funny because the guy is such a jerk, because Clark just walks up to him and tells him that wasn't sporting at all, and the guy's like, it wasn't, eh? Neither is this, and just takes a swing at Clark, and then of course Clark just accidentally elbows him in the chin. Oops, sorry.
Finally, Clark is doing something. Finally.
Right. Yeah. He definitely does not come across, even though he doesn't, throw his, throw hands with this guy. He definitely doesn't come across as a coward in this one in front of Lois, because if they were still, I guess, kind of going with that angle, then Lois should have been the one that got all in this reporter's face. And Clark would have been like, now, Lois, let's not get too hasty here. It's like, we don't make him mad, Lois. I'm a coward. But so, yeah, at least Clark at this point is not looking, like a weakling in front of Lois.
And I believe the next page, panel 30, is the one that you were asking about with his.
Yeah. What's up with that panel because the first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, they're using his heat vision, because it looks like he's melting
a hole in the wall,
freaking wall. But I don't know if that's just because obviously he doesn't.
Nope.
I don't know.
It's just X-ray vision, but I mean, it's even drawn like the wall is melting.
Yeah. Is that supposed to be, I'm trying to imagine it if this was happening on a TV show or in a movie. And is that supposed to be our transition? Like, ooh, the wall is melting away, even though it's not, to see what's on the other side, just to, I guess, accentuate his X-ray vision. They didn't do that the last time they used his X-ray vision. I just found that really confusing at first.
And also, let me state here, I need to find it. There apparently was here it is. Panel 62. Here is a hanging Superman. So that's 2 issues in a row. That brings us up to 10 total.
It's crazy.
Hanging by one hand while looks like he's listening through the wall, which he could be, I guess, with the super hearing he does have at this point.
Yeah. And then before that, him using the bow and arrow to shoot that little light bulb out of the.
That was just, what truly, what was the point of that?
I don't know, because I get it. He's like, this is who you're messing with. Don't mess around with me because I can do this. But he could have just picked the guy up by his throat, and that would have been just as,
Well, or just puffed up his chest and let the arrow bounce off his chest. That would have been pretty imposing. Yeah, you've got it. Go ahead.
Matt says in the comics, colored red in the Golden Age Superman omnibus, which is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's what we both have. It's colored red, but it also looks like the yellowish there, or the secondary color.
Yeah. Yeah. The X-ray vision is red. And then where there's this swath going across the bricks that's in yellow. And it looks like the the wall is melting.
Looks like
right there.
it looks like it's so. I guess that is the vision penetrating is what they're trying to portray there,
Yeah.
rather than I guess anything physically really happening to the wall.
Right. Yeah.
Because even in the next panel, the people are kind of hazy like a ghost.
Yeah. Yep.
In denoting, because they say up here he's using X-ray eyes. So
yeah.
And maybe I don't know. Maybe it was drawn. Would it have been drawn and then the narration lettered after? So maybe the artist didn't know what he was doing, not in a bad way, but
yeah, it's definitely X-ray vision. Matt's saying, wouldn't say it's heat vision either. It's definitely X-ray vision. It's just the way that it's drawn and colored. I thought it was the heat vision at first. That was my first thought. Was
right when I first
oh my gosh,
saw
they're
that
using
panel,
his heat vision, and then it's like no, it's because it tells us in the next panel that he's using his X-ray eyes and his super sensitive ears. But it's just a weird way to show his X-ray vision being used. Because normally, I mean, even back then, a lot of times what we would see is, even if we were seeing him looking at the wall, instead of the red beam hitting the wall and then what looks like the wall melting, we just would have seen like a circle with dots going around it and the people on the other side of the wall through that. That's how I'm used to seeing
the
them
circle would have
doing
been, it. Just like Matt says here, 31 is a much better example of using the X-ray vision.
Agreed. Yep.
Yeah. And let me just call Matt out for Cool Beans sitting there looking at the book while we're talking about this.
Yeah,
that's
very
pretty
nice.
awesome too, man.
Matt's following along.
That's the edition that Steven and I both have, is that Golden Age, omnibus or whatever it's called. Yeah,
the omnibus. I think that's more
Superman in the Golden Age. Yeah. Big book, whatever they called it,
big
hardcover or whatever. Ripping the safe out like paper, it said. Yep, yeah, like it was constructed of paper. I was like, okay, there we go. There's Superman doing some super stuff.
Yep.
But then, we get to the arrow thing, and that whole sequence just was off to me. Catching the arrow. Well, even a regular dude can catch the arrow.
Yeah, it's more impressive. Like the time we saw him catch the bullet before it hit, there was like the story where the guy shot at Lois and he raced the bullet and got in front of it and caught it before it hit Lois. That was pretty cool. This is just like, okay, I guess they're trying different things. They're, what's a way that we can show that Superman is super that we better. Haven't shown before.
Without dogging anybody, just saying that he's better. I'm better than you. Watch that light bulb over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, okay.
And of course that just terrifies this poor man. Oh, what do you want?
Yep. Not that catching the arrow did it.
Right.
Which would be impressive enough, I would think. It's like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty silly. And we get another, like you said, we got another Superman hanging from a ledge looking out a window.
There in panel 62.
But we have another scene of Superman chasing down a car.
Yes.
Or in this case, he's just following the car, but still, it's really funny and really hard for me to not laugh at those kind of panels, because for most of my life, the Superman I know is a Superman that flies, but seeing him following a car by running behind it, it's not something that I'm used to at this point. It's really.
But here in panel 59 on the page before, that is exactly what it looks like. Looks like he's flying, it's like he's the car.
Yep, he's doing the Hulk thing where he's leaping.
Yep, that's more what we're used to now.
And you wouldn't even know that. Even just it doesn't even tell you in the panel that if you looked at that panel by itself, even with the text, you would assume he's flying, because it just says shortly after, high overhead in the sky, Superman trails Powers Auto. So I can understand why eventually there's an issue where an artist just draws him flying, because
can we just have him flying like from now on?
Right. And then Superman really does go to quite the extreme lengths to make sure that the story doesn't go out. Wrecking this printing press and then breaking the photographic plates so that
don't forget trashing the delivery trucks.
Yeah. He
did that too. So
it's Superman. Come on, brother. Matt wants us to look at panel 39.
Okay. Yep. Looks like he's flying there too. Yep.
Yep.
Can be seen streaking down to now. See, that even implies that he's flying.
Yeah.
Fantastic figure can be seen streaking down toward Gene Powers' home. Well, yeah, he's flying, but no, he's jumped and he's just falling. And that's another question that just occurred to me. If he is this awesome jumper, can he control when he decides to come down?
That's a good question, because he does that a lot when he's descending. You would think somebody who doesn't fly but is leaping, that they would drop out of the sky feet first, but he tends to dive out of the sky a lot. It's like he gets to the apex of the arc and then dives down, which I find really, really weird for him, because it would just be easier for him to drop out of the sky feet first, because he's got to flip back over so he lands on his feet.
Well, what I was referring to, though, is can he cut his leap short?
Right. Yeah.
Does he have this phenomenal spatial ability to calculate that whatever the distance is, he jumps exactly what that distance requires?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you could say the same thing for the Hulk. I mean, but we're not talking the Hulk, So, but it's like, so does he always, he never overshoots? He never comes up short? Or does
I mean, I feel like I've read issues of the Hulk where he has been in midair in the middle of his leap and notices something on the ground and still manages to land next to, it's like he's in mid leap and he looks down and is like, oh, there's something down there I should probably check out. And he manages to land.
He
there.
can go to it. Okay. I don't know.
To me, to me, that's flying.
Well, I don't possess super leaping ability, so I can't attest to how it works exactly.
I mean, I guess if Superman can, lift that sub out of the water in that one previous issue without
whatever it is,
anything behind him to act as a
to buoy, push against. It's like, okay, just the water.
It's just comic books, man. Come on, guys.
That's what it is. Overthinking it. Gotta quit. He does get shot twice here, so that's cool.
Yeah,
it wasn't impressive with the arrow, so they had to have him get shot. It's and it's a good gun and everything, because the other dude gets killed with the same gun, and so it's legit. Kills the one dude, but not Superman.
Yeah, and I there are times when it seems like whenever he's being shot recently in the stories, he always has something funny to say about it. At least I think it's funny. I don't know if it's meant to be funny, but of course this guy shoots him and he just says, "Give me that." And I know in a previous story that somebody was shooting him and he was just like, "I could do this all day," or something to that, to that effect. But in this case, he's just like, "Give me that. Like, what are you doing? Come on, I'm Superman." And the bullet careens off Superman's super tough skin. "Surprised," he says. And then, throws him into a wall. That's a great panel.
That's a very violent looking.
That guy.
The wall.
I don't think that guy. He probably has a broken back.
He's going to be feeling that in the morning. Yep. Extended tub time there for that one.
Yeah, he's going to need some Epsom salt or something. Going to soak for a while.
Look at this tower here in panel 77.
Yeah, looks like a Christmas tree almost.
It's a rather impressive tower for a building.
Yeah.
It looks almost evil, kind of, or something,
Yeah.
Everything else is nice and square and rectangular and 90 degrees and everything. And then you have this, I don't know, John Carter of Mars building or something there.
It almost looks like a drill.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Maybe they'll pick that up in a next issue somewhere.
Yeah. It'd be nice Superman if they hid stuff like that in these, that I'm going to draw this building that will come back as a Martian spaceship.
Right. Yeah. Then because of something like this book will sell for more, because that's the actual first appearance of whatever it is instead of,
Yeah. And then of course, these last two pages, like you said, it's like he gets to this newspaper and tries to stop them from printing it, but it's too late. It's already been printed. It's being loaded onto trucks. And so he destroys their trucks. And then that's not enough. He has to destroy the printing press and the photographic plate just so they can't make any more. And makes the guy leave town.
By threatening him with his life, or Is
You're
that what he
smart.
did?
You won't be in this city tomorrow. I'll get out at once.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, yeah, we learn a week later that the politician was reelected and that Clark was of great assistance. And Clark gives a little nod and a wink to the readers. Many thanks from Superman, too. It would be fun if we got an issue later where we find out that, Superman has to go see this politician and is like, hey, I need something from you. I helped you get elected.
Or the politician goes dirty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he, I helped you get here. And this is how you repay that.
Yeah. And
you better
honestly,
leave town.
With Superman in these stories, it wouldn't surprise me if something like that happened, because really it's almost like anything at any point, Superman could just be like, I don't agree with that.
Yep.
And so I'm going to destroy a bunch of stuff.
And that's all you got. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it,
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I got to say about this.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I have anything else to add. So we do want to thank everyone for listening to this episode of the Superman Super Show. If you'd like to drop us a line, ask us a question, or just provide feedback in general, you can send an email to the supermansupershow@gmail.com. Also reach out to us on Twitter over at Soups, S-U-P-S, Super Show, one word, Soups, Super Show. And I made a motion with my hands like you guys on the audio can hear. Yeah, okay. Or come join the fun over on the forum at forum.justanotherfanboy.com. All links for everything will be in the show notes. So, until next week, folks, I'm Ed, and that's Steven. This was the Superman Super Show.
Bye.
Ciao.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Matt.
My daughter's name is Piper. I do the Superman radio. Oh, cool.
Okay. Very nice.
Welcome, Matt.
Welcome, Superman
Welcome,
Radio
Matt. I'm sorry.
So this is the podcast that actually plays the episodes, the actual radio episodes, or do you talk about the radio episode, or both? There's a delay.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're okay. Plays the episodes and then has commentary.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was.
Yeah. Matt, I haven't actually listened yet. It's on my list. I think, Ed, we were talking a couple of weeks back on one of the episodes that now that I'm working from home and I don't spend as much time in the car, I find that I don't listen to podcasts as much as I used to. 90% of the time, if I'm in the car, usually my wife's with me. And so we've been listening to a lot of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. So.
Nice to have you here, Matt. Appreciate it, man. I'm about 35 or 40 episodes in. I don't listen to an episode every time I listen to podcasts, which is every day while I'm at work. But I listen to probably one or two a week, and I started from the beginning relatively recently. Right before we started the show, actually, I started listening to the Superman radio shows.
Cool. Yeah, it's on my list. I have found that regardless of the fact that a lot of the stuff that I do at work is putting together reports and crunching numbers and crap like that, if I'm listening to an audiobook or a podcast, my mind tends to focus on what I'm doing and not what I'm listening to. And suddenly I'll realize that I've been listening to something for 20 or 30 minutes and I have no idea what has happened over those last 20 or 30 minutes.
Right. No recollection.
And, yeah. So I tend to pay better attention when I'm in the car. So unfortunately, that means I'm way behind on a lot of my podcasts, and that does make me a little sad. Ed, real quick, I'm going to jump into the kitchen and grab a soda.
Okay. Go for it.
And then we'll get started on episode number 2. Or
okay.
Episode 25.
So anyone else out there listening as we're recording, we have Doug S. and we have Matt so far. So anybody else that might be listening, say something so we see who you be. I think Steven can see on StreamYard how many people are listening in, right?
Yeah, it's showing 2 currently.
Well,
so
that's what we have.
And Doug, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I've got Audacity going back here.
Yeah.
I saved the first one. Did you save the
started?
first one?
Yeah, first one's saved. All right. So let's do the clap.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Now we have 3 people watching.
Oh, all right. Ready to go? Nope. Hang on. Gotta get everything going here.
All right.
What is that? Look like a Mountain Dew?
This is a Diet Mountain Dew, sir. I'm watching my weight.
88% of the work week is spent communicating, so it's important your team does it well. Enter Grammarly. Grammarly's AI helps teams communicate clearly the first time. It shows you how to make words resonate with your audience, helps with brainstorming, and lets you instantly create and revise drafts in just one click. Join over 70,000 teams and 30 million people who use Grammarly to move work forward. Go to Grammarly.com/enterprise to learn more. Grammarly, enterprise-ready AI.
Holiday magic is in the air at iFly Indoor Skydiving. Imagine unwrapping the experience of flight. iFly is the perfect unique gift for anyone who wants to turn their dream of flying into a joyful reality. It's unforgettable fun for all ages. Save over 35% with iFly's limited-time holiday gift voucher flight packages. Turn dreams into unforgettable moments with the gift of flight. Go to iFlyWorld.com to purchase your holiday gift vouchers. That's iFlyWorld.com.